Hey everyone, we have some new goats coming, and right now we only have the one, and she lives in this little igloo, dog igloo. So I'm going to build a larger enclosure, and I'll show you the plans in a second, but basically we're going to be putting it right in here. It's going to be a lean-to type enclosure, as you'll see in the plans here in a second. But so far I've just flattened the area and kind of just started cutting some boards. So join me while I build it. Here's the plan. It's a 4x8 with an opening, possibly a door. I don't know if I'm going to put a door on it yet, but possibly a door. It's a little bit of a return right here, and a shelf. You can see it here with a ramp going up to it. You can see it leans back. This will be the front. This will be the back. And this is my count for wood. Got about 23 2x4s and 6 4x8s for siding. I'll need a 4x8 or so for a roof panel, unless I put one of those corrugated pieces on. And then a 3 foot by 4 foot shelf here, or bunk, however you want to call it. There'll be room for watering and for some food in there as well, but mainly it's just get them some shelter. So this morning I went to the local Home Depot and picked up some 2x4s. I got 17 2x4s. There's a couple up there. They're kind of spread out right now. Got 3 pressure sensitive ones. This is a 4x8 enclosure, so all I needed was 3 of them on the bottom for the pressure sensitive ones that'll be on the ground. So here's the 8 foot backside board, and I cut 5. These are about 7 or 6 feet tall. In the back it's going to slope down to 6 feet, and so they're going to be about 2 feet on center. And then at the top of each I cut, it's about a 1/4 inch difference. You can see the angle on there so that it slopes forward to the front. So I'm going to go ahead and frame this back wall up, and trick here, just make sure all your angle cuts all go the same way for the back wall, and then we'll put this 2x4 top plate on, and that'll support the rest of it. I'm just going to frame out this real quick, get these put on. So I took a measuring tape and I marked the board every 2 feet. So we'll go ahead and put the other end piece on, and then put the in-between units in. So we're going to line it up with the mark, then nail these in at 2 foot intervals. I'm not going to film that because it'd be boring, but you get the idea. Okay, we got those on. Now we're going to lay the top plate across, again marked at 2 foot increments, and we're gonna nail that in. You can note that all those are angled the same way. So the next piece we're going to do is a little 2-foot section at the front of the shed or coop. So I'm not going to show it all on video. I'm just going to nail the top and bottom on. You want to make sure again that your angles are going the right way or going in the same direction as each other. Got the bottom 2-foot section nailed on. And I forgot the top section actually has to be an 8-foot section. It's going to be the top of the shed or the shelter. So I put the second one at 2 feet over so it's aligned with the bottom. And now we're going to put the 3-foot section down here and nail that there. For now I'm just going to put the 2 pieces in. It might be a good idea, get the shadow out of the way, to put a third one in between. I'm going to have that shelf, but I can probably support it with a horizontal one as well. But if I feel I need it once it's up, I'll add that. But right now I'm just going to put the 2 just to get in place. This is where I was going to put the shelter, but my wife said that we wouldn't be able to see the goats from the house if I put it here. So we're actually looking at moving it over here, about where that tree is, right about there. That means we're going to have to remove this California buckeye tree. It's kind of a nuisance tree anyway, so I'll go ahead and do that. All right, I got the uprights in. You can see where the opening is going to be. I'll probably put a header somewhere around here to help sturdy it later on. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and move it into place. But first, I got to take this tree out. Got the tree stump out yesterday and buried the hole, put everything back. And I'm putting the opening, just leaning up against the existing fence there. I'm putting the bottom plate next to it. What we're going to do is put this board up here, measure it toward the top. I want to be able to nail it into that top plate once we get it going. So I'm going to mark the top and we're going to cut it at about a 15-degree angle, sloping this way. And we'll do the same to the other side. You're going to set this angle about 15 degrees and go ahead and cut this. Once we get those 2 boards cut, we're going to go ahead and nail them to the bottom plate here. And then we're going to do the same thing to the other side. So for the back side, I'm just going to lay the other board on top of there, aligning the bottom plate. That's what we're trying to do here. Just mark this so it slants a little bit upward. So we're going to cut 2 of these. So we're going to lay these out so the angles are in the same direction. And then nail the ends together. Got a 2x4 at 4 feet. It's going to be our top plate. So I'm just laying it down on top here and marking the length here. So now I'm going to get this, move it to the top, and align that mark there, and then the bottom there. So I know how long it is. And I'm going to lay another 2x4 across the top so I can cut it. Now this is by no means the most professional way to do this, but it definitely works. So I lay the other 2x4 top, here and here. And we're going to mark it where to cut it. I'm also going to cut a little angle in the top there, just so it's a little more flush. So I'm about to cut the top board. So I gave it a little bit of extra room here and put an angle. That way I'm going to cut an angle on the back as well and do that to 2 boards. Okay, I got my 2x4s cut here. I'm going to go ahead and nail them on. I have the side walls framed. So I'm going to put a central 2x4 up the middle. So I'm just going to really eyeball it. If you want to get this exact, you can measure it, but really it's just to give it a little extra support. So what I'm doing is just laying it across here. I have it aligned at the bottom, and I'm just going to mark underneath there where I want it cut. Once they're cut, to go ahead and put it in the middle and nail it together. Go ahead and nail this in on both sides. Okay, these are both sides and both pieces, so you should have 2 of these. So what I'm going to do is stand up the wall section and nail it to the front piece. So I'll go ahead and put a few more nails along there, and I'll do the same to the other side. We got it tacked up, so we're going to finish nailing it in. Okay, we have the sidewalls up. I noticed I did cut these a little long, so I'm just going to lay another 2x4 across there and give it a double header on it. I'll go ahead, nail the rest of that, and I'll plumb it up before I put the siding on. So for the siding, I'm going to measure from the bottom here to the top, which is 88 inches. From the bottom on this side to the top. I'll go a little bit high because you can see there's a little difference there. And it's about 80 inches and a quarter. So I'm going to measure here along this side. I got 88 inches. You want to make sure it's going to go on the high side when you stand it up. And on this side, we're going to be at 80 and a quarter. So I'm going to lay 2x4 across here and strike a line. So there's my cut line. So I cut my board. I'm going to slide it over there and do a check fit. One thing that would make this project a lot easier is have a second set of hands helping you. I'll go ahead and just make sure it's cut to the right size, and then I'll plumb it up on one side. So I'm going to have to cut a little bit off on this side. So we got a width from here to here, 4 feet, which is exactly right, what we planned on. But these siding boards are actually 49 and a quarter, or 48 and 3/4, sorry. So I have to trim them 3/4 of an inch off. Okay, I put one nail where it's flush with the board in the back. Now I'm going to just move this side to side until it gets plumb on that side. Then I'm going to nail that whole side. Okay, got one side on, and again I nailed this side straight. Then I'll tilt it to get it aligned on this side, and then nailed the top and bottom there. Sorry, I'm going to step a little further back. Now I'm going to do these two panels here. So the first thing I got to do is measure from here to there and cut the boards to size. So I cut the two back siding boards to 80 inches. I'll bring it to the top of that one. And like I said, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to nail the right side on only, and then kind of tilt it so everything else lines up, and then nail it down, and then do the second piece. I have the two back sides on and nailed down. Now we're going to put the other side panel on here. So I got to measure again to get the slope right. I've got 80 inches here still, just making sure they're not different. This one should be 88. It's got 88 and 80, so we'll go ahead and cut this board to size. So let's cut the last board. I'm going to go ahead and nail that one on. The last board for today. I still got to do the front ones, so we'll get those later. So here's the shelter from the inside. I put it behind the fence because this is still being used by honey. I have 2 more coming, and I'm just going to cut the fencing and actually wrap it up onto the sides here. This is their nighttime shelter. Then they can run out there during the daytime, and we can move that around. So I'm going to put a header on. So I'm going to go from here across to here, just so I can, when I put the siding on this side, I can just wrap it around the opening in there. So that opening is 35.5 inches. Yeah, mark the board at 35.5 inches and go ahead and cut it. I have the header just laying in place. You can see I started some nails here. So I'm going to go ahead and pound those in. So the header is in. Next thing we're going to do is cut the siding to fit around here, and get the roof on, and then we'll work on the interior. I just cut the two front boards down to 88 inches, and now I need to measure the opening and cut it out of those before I put them up. So here's the left piece, so you can see I marked the area I'm going to cut, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I got the first left board nailed on. Now I'm going to put the right board on. Okay, so I got the 4 walls up. I got a standard, I did it 4x8 to reduce the number of cuts. So I got a 4x8 by 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch plywood for the roof. Just hoisted it up here and I'm going to screw it down. No cutting involved, it fit perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and screw all the way around, and the roof's done. They'll come back later and we'll put some roofing on to overlap so you don't get any seepage in the siding. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this shelf or bed right about here so it's off the ground for them. So I'm going to measure from here to this and cut a little notch out. This is actually 4 feet. From here to here is still 4 feet. So I bought a 2x4 piece of wood, so the glare there. And rather than buy a 4x8 and cut it down, calling these in 2 feet for now, I'm going to notch it out here and then put some ledgers across here to support it. Here's the notch that I cut in. It was 19.5 by 21 and about 1/4. I cut just over 3.5 inches down here. So that'll notch in around this perfectly. So now I need to measure to put a ledger from here to here. So I've got my measuring tape, and unfortunately I don't have my tripod, so I'm just going to measure this and cut the board to size and nail it in. So I cut that board at 33 inches. I'm just going to lift it into place here. So I'm going to put it 22 inches off the top plate. That way the goats can go under or jump on top of it. So now I'm just going to nail it in at each end. Got the first one in. I'm going to measure back here to there. And then I'll put one right across here. That board's in place. I'm also going to put a little cripple board in right here to align with this stud. The alternative is to put a stud all the way up. As this is kind of wide without anything there, but it's only 3 feet. I'm going to put that cripple board in there and just brace that in. And then that'll also support the horizontal board going from side to side. Here's my horizontal support. What I'm going to do right here, I'm just going to mark it and notch out. Let me do this without shaking the camera too much. Just notch out a little section here. So that'll be flush at the top there. Here's my notch. That'll go in there just like that and support across the line with that. So we got those supports on. I'm going to go ahead and put one along the back as well. Okay, I finished the frame, so I'm going to go ahead and put the shelf on. Got my notch over here. and it falls right into place. And I'll screw that down and this will be done. Got a little spot for them underneath, or they can jump on top. We're going to put the food and the water over here. Now we're going to get the roof on. I bought one pack of tan, actually it's desert tan, roofing comp shingles at Home Depot, and basically I'm just going to overlap the edge a little bit so that there's a little bit of an overhang, and then just nail them on across here and then overlap as they go up. So I'm not going to show all that just because I am perched up on a ladder and I can't do both at the same time, but I'll keep you in progress as I go through with the videos as it moves along. Here's the first row. See, when we get down to the end, there's a loose spot. We're going to get our blade. It has a special blade for roofing tile, and we're going to score it here, just cut it and nail that one down. So we got that one down, got it cut. Now we're going to go to the other edge again, put the next row on, and we're going to cut that one so that the joints stagger as we come back over. So we're going to cut that first one in half. Actually, what I can do is I can start from this end with a whole piece and then cut off on there. That'd probably even be better. So we're going to do that. I'm going to start on this end, put a whole piece on there. What'll happen is the joints will stagger. Then we'll get the end in, we'll cut that one off. And just go back and forth as we do that. You'll notice that now that the first one's laid, there's a little white line right here. It's already pre-marked on the tiles. So our second tile will line up this edge with that white line and the edge and bring this down so the white line is just covered. And that'll give us our second layer as we go back and forth. And just a little hint, what I do is I use a pair of needle-nose pliers to hold the nail, because to be honest, these nails are pretty shallow and I got tired of getting my fingers smashed by my bad hammering. So I just lay it down there, pound it in once, and then let go, and then pound it in the rest of the way. Here we are with the fourth row, just getting started. And it goes pretty quick once you get the system down. Just go back and forth. Hopefully we have enough to go all the way up. I only bought one package. It's supposed to do, I think, 32 square feet, which is right in the ball game. But I am overlapping it a little bit, so we'll see. For the last layer, I'm just going to overlap it a little bit over the edge. This is actually the last full piece I have, so I'm probably going to try to piece together these smaller pieces just for the remainder there. So I'll have to buy another $30 package. So just going to nail this down, let it overhang, and then I'm going to bend down the edges all the way around slightly so that the rain flows off of it. Here's the finished roof. You can see there's quite a bit of overlap on all sides, and I did bend them down a little bit. So that's the roof. And now all I gotta do is put the feed and water station in and we'll be done. What we're gonna do is add some backing inside the shelter to hang this. There's a little C-clips here. We'll put some eye bolts on it and put some backing in to hold it in there. There are many different types of feeders for goats or other types of animals. There's the type with the wire basket you dump the hay into and they eat out of that, pull it out of there. You probably require some backing at a higher level for those, and we may put one of those in the future, but for now this is what they use. So we're going to provide some backing for this, and then we'll go ahead and put the buckets of water on the inside as well. My backing piece will go in like this, but rather than trying to hammer around the back side of this, I'm going to go ahead and put some supports in here and hammer it to those. Here's my backing. realized after doing this, I probably don't need this because I was able to put 2 nails in there, but that one was needed and we did get that one nailed in. So I'm going to put 2 eye bolts in here and hang the food tray. Okay, here's the food tray installed on the backing. If you noticed, it's kind of offset. I ended up putting one of the eye bolts here so that the bottom of this will rest on the stud. Otherwise it swung back too far and wouldn't be level for the food to stay in it. So that's the food. We got the water. And get rid of the drill. And there's the feeding station. And again, if you're going to use a basket, you just put another layer of blocking up a little bit higher and you can mount the basket. We'll probably do that in the future as well. But for now, this is what they have. And I hope they enjoy it. So to wrap up, here's the goat shelter. And there's a lot of finishing touches you can still do to it. You know, add some trim pieces around the corner, put a door frame around it or to trim, paint it white, a different color. Also, you can put a door on it if you want. We added the shelf inside, and from how dirty it's getting, I can tell the goats are using it. And then we have our feeding station over here. Sorry about the glare. Got some food and water. That's under shelter, so now if it rains, their food won't get soggy. Anyway, hope that was helpful for some of you. I know the goats are going to enjoy it. We're going to leave the igloo in there because they do use it. And they like to climb on it. Anyway, they're already checking it out. So anyway, I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them. If you have any ideas for other things you'd like to see, go ahead and let me know. And in the meantime, take care, enjoy, and thank you for watching.